plan is to make a video where I show you how I teach my dogs a jump cue. And I really like to have a well-proofed jump cue that tells the dog to get the jump, even if I run the opposite direction or if I make a front cross, a blind cross, a rear cross, and that I can be confident that my dog will do their job so that I can do mine. So Spy is going to show the first step that I do, and that is just simply shaping the jump. I use a very low jump. Yes. And I throw treats. Yes! Wow! Yes! Wow! Wow! So I use very big, tasty treats that she easily can find in the grass. And I've also trained a lot with her to chase treats because she's not very food motivated. So this is a game that we've built up through the time that I've had her. Spy. Yes. And when she's happily offering to jump, I can increase the distance. I can throw the treats in different angles. Here it is. And make sure that she's really looking to get the jump. Wow. Yes! And then she gets to play because that's what she really likes to do. But I like to use treats when I start this because I can get a lot of repetitions without having to set her up for a new repetition. She can just take her treat and then offer the behavior again. I also want to make sure that she can offer the behavior with the distraction of food or toys. Spy. So I show her the food. Oh, it's so good. It's very good. And then I allow her to think. And I try to pull her off the jump. Wow! And we can try with the toy. I know you like the toy. That's a more difficult distraction. Yes! Wow! Good girl! I can also start to distract her more with my motion. And that was too hard. Yes! Yes! Wow! So once she has a ton of drive for the jump, I will start adding the cue. And I will do it as soon as she picks up the treat, before she turns to jump. Hop! 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 Oh, hop! Hop! So we'll go to a toy. Spy! And start having her wait for the cue. And she's fairly used to the concept of waiting. Hop. So I use my jump cue for any jump in extension that isn't super tight. So even if there's a slight turn or there's a serpentine line, I will use the jump cue. The only time I wouldn't use it is if I wanted to wrap. Sväng, 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 sväng. That's a different cue. Hop. Ah. Once she knows the cue, I can try to mix in some other cues. Bye. Sit. Yeah. Start working on some distance from me. sure that she can find the jump in different angles. Bye. Hop. Good girl, wow! And as you can see, I keep the jump super low when I start this, because it's not really about jumping, it's about understanding the cue and finding the jump and having fun. And then as they progress, I will gradually raise the bar until they're at full height. Sit. I also want to bring in some distractions of my movement. Hop! Yay! Good. And especially movement away from the jump. Hop! Yeah! And one of the hardest things for her is me taking off in serpentine position. See? Hop! Whoa! Wow! Good. Another very difficult thing for her is if I make a front cross or a blind cross before she takes off. And I generally want to do my crosses early so that I can see the dog take off on the new arm, but that requires them to be committed to the jump. Oh, you naughty! You naughty! Sit. It requires them to be committed to the jump as soon as I give them the cue. So we'll try a simple blind. Hop! Yes! Wow! And I could see her take off over my right shoulder. Now let's try a more difficult front cross. And front crosses are usually more difficult because they can sense our rotation and wants to come with us. So I will lead out, making sure she keeps her feet still. I will point to the takeoff spot and then give the cue, and as soon as she starts, I will perform my front cross. Hop! Yes! So my goal is to be fully rotated and have her on my left hand as she takes off for the jump. And this keeps me ahead in the course, and it also gives her very good indication of where we're going before she takes the jump. Now let's try one more serpentine line. Hop! And I tried to make it difficult for her by pumping my arms instead of keeping my arm there. I usually use my arm, but I want them to be, I want them to be independent. And if I tell them to jump, I want them to jump. And if I tell them to sit, I want them to sit.